Your opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of KWAM. Welcome to the Variety Hour on The Voice.
This is the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I'm with CrestCore Realty. Thankful you guys chose to join us this morning, and thank you for tuning in at FM 107.9, AM 990, or online at kwam990.com. You can download the free TuneIn app and take us on the go with you, so I appreciate everybody joining us. The Memphis Real Estate Hour, guys, it's an investment real estate show that we will give you information to move into the investment world. We'll have local and national professionals in our field on the show. Usually every week we have some type of guest, and we'll be talking everything investing. So today's an exciting show. I'm excited to get to our topic today. But I also remind you, the guys, that every single show I am an investor. So if you've got that old home that you need to sell quickly, you inherited it, family, relative, somebody's property that you guys need to sell quickly, give me a call, 901-619-6170, or you can text me at that same number, and we'll get you a cash offer on that home, usually within 24 hours. Again, I mention this every show too, but we're on Facebook Live, the Memphis Real Estate Hour on your Facebook account. I think everybody's got one of those. So tune in to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. You guys can watch us live this morning if you're not already joining us there. So we're excited to do that still. It's been a big part of our show. We're reaching a lot of people that we weren't necessarily reaching before. Last week on the show, we had Dan Butler in the studio. We had a great conversation, lots of good feedback. This week we're going to be talking about your network will affect your net worth. So we're going to dive in just a few minutes talking about your network and how that can necessarily and directly affect your net worth. I've got 3 investments of the week this week. I'm going to give those out at 8:30, so prepare yourself for some more free money. You just got to spend a little bit to get it. But I'm excited about the 3 that we've got today. We've got really good properties that we're gonna give you today. One of these is brand new to us, so be ready for that at the bottom of the hour at 8:30. Dan Butler's in the studio today. Dan, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Let's dive right into this.
Hey,
We've been taking a break sometimes at this spot, but I think it's important for us to get kind of right on our topic. A lot of people tune in specifically for the topic. So your network will reflect your net worth. What does that mean to you?
You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. We were talking about that before the show started, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that your circle of influence, your team that you put yourself around is going to either, hold you back or lift you up.
One or the other.
One or the others. No,
There's no middle ground.
There's middle ground. It's either hold you back, steady state, hold you back. If you're not growing and changing and improving, it's almost like you're dying in a sense,
If you ever played sports, you'll have a coach tell you that if you're not getting better every day, you're getting worse.
Oh, yeah.
There is no, hey, we're just going to stay the same today as we were yesterday. It's always, you're either going to get better today or you're going to fool around and get worse today. It's one of the
wonder how Saban thinks about somebody that's the same every day. How that works out for him.
I imagine that in that program there are messages like that delivered
everywhere,
every minute, all the time. It's just constant. But I mean, and I despise Alabama football like no other. But there is a point there. He's got. The success is not tells the story.
Yeah.
So if there's something that he's given every day to those players all day long, it might be something you ought to add to your your personal life or to your own business.
Well, this is a total tangent, but do you think they have fun?
It's fun to win.
I agree with there, but
if they weren't winning, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Monday through Friday is a complete job and work. But when you're beating SEC teams by 60 points like they did last week,
Right.
yeah, that's fun. I mean,
Yeah.
and win a national championship, you're going to go to the
there's all
Final
kinds
Four,
of
the
coverage and
the upside is really there. But that's kind of like to use that analogy I use like in the NBA. If your talent supersedes your garbage, you're tolerable. But as soon as your talent level drops and your garbage is still there, then you start to eliminate. So in that situation, they start losing, and Nick Saban is still the same way. I mean, that'd get old quick.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a lot with our culture, right? At CrestCore, our talent. We talk about our culture, rising up, and but really business is business. So if your talent rises up, they're going to hold each other accountable and do, bigger and better things than everybody's kind of status quo.
Sure.
Like
if you got a guy beside you that's working, a lot harder than you are, it's going to be abundantly clear sooner rather than later that you're being outshined by someone else.
Right.
So I mean, if you're going to either fall by the wayside or you're going to do something yourself to better yourself. So yes, I think who you surround yourself, your teammates, which is what we're going to dive into today, is extremely important. So what do you think when we think of our network partnerships? Other agents that in my line of work would be, other agents, other partners, win-win relationships, and then your sphere of influence. I want to talk about that just for a second. Your sphere of influence, it's important to create that, right? And what a lot of people, when you say that word or that phrase, a lot of people know what that is, but how many people have really created it?
Yeah.
And when I first got into real estate, this is not a tangent, but this is a little bit of a story. To create your business and to create a pipeline or a sphere of influence, we there was an exercise that they'll tell brand new agents to do. Get out a pad, not one sheet of paper, because you're going to need a pad, and write down every single person that you know, every single person that you can think of, and you can put a name out. You can spit out a name. Just start writing down names.
Yeah.
It might be 10 pages worth of names, but that's your sphere of influence.
Right.
That's who you need to start to market to first. That's who you need to start talking to first about leads and referrals. And I think that's important when you're thinking about your network to put together that sphere of influence.
Well, if you don't mind, I'll tangent for a second.
Yeah.
Before we dive deep into the real estate side, I did this exercise with the inner city just last week. I speak over there every few weeks, and we talk a lot about, one of the biggest misconceptions is that if I have a felony, I can't get a job.
Right.
And so we draw on the board, hey, one person has a felony, he's sitting on the porch hanging out, and we talk through how many people they see, positive, negative, say it's 15 people a day, they're sitting on the porch hanging out, whatever, at their house. They see 15 people. Out of that 15, 13 are negative and 2 are positive.
Yep.
Versus the other person who's at Advanced Memphis, going to play basketball with friends, going to a Bible study, going to whatever it is. Work, and then they see like they're 100 people and 80 of those are positive. And so we talked through what's the chances of that person, one succeeding versus the other. It's pretty glaring. The light bulbs are going off in their head like, okay, wait a second, I can just adjust this slightly.
And be way better.
So that's a real practical example I was playing out last week with the inner city, but.
And it goes to my favorite phrase here. My dad told me this all the time, but I mean, I got it on the bad end of this the majority of the time, but you are who you hang with.
Right.
I mean, I know that's that's simple English, but you are who you hang with. I mean, in every light. And if you think about that, especially from a business perspective, if you're running around every day making calls and trying to work, but your immediate surroundings are people who are not, not doing things they're supposed to do. I mean, I guess you could list a laundry list of stuff that people shouldn't be doing, but doing things they're not supposed to be doing versus going to work every day, hanging out with people that are constantly striving to make themselves better, constantly striving to reach goals that maybe not even be attainable, but they're just constantly trying, constantly trying to get better. I love that saying that you are who you hang with. And I think it goes to not only your personal level. I used to get it a whole lot in junior high and high school, obviously during those days. But even now in a workplace, I mean, if you're around people that are professionals, that treat others the right way, what do you think you're going to become?
Right.
You're going to become that.
Right.
If you're around people at work that are cheating the system, lazy, riding the clock, so to speak, not necessarily, what do you think you're going to naturally become that?
There's before we go deeper in this, I mean, when I was in manufacturing for 20 years, we used to joke there was a smoke shack, and it truly was a shack, like where people would go out and hang out, and so you'd see those people and you see those others that were, doing safety observations and having meetings and you just saw who was rising to the top, very clearly, and those that stuck together in the shack, if you will, they were just dragging each other down, and you saw that play out in attitudes and everything, just the whole work, performance.
I think the older you get and the more you mature, the easier it is to see. I mean, when you're younger and so it might even apply here if you're new to establishing your real estate career. If you're new to starting your process, it might be harder to see. But as you mature in whatever field that you're in, whether it's high school, whether it's in real estate business that you're trying to start or whatever, I think the further along you get, it's easier to see that you're either doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. Yeah. But as long as I've always stayed with that motto, you are who you hang with.
Yeah, and I think that the hardest, as you get older in life, I think the hardest part for me is like distinguishing who wants to really get after it or who is just talking the talk.
Pretending.
Pretending. And so I spend a lot of my time discerning which ones that is. So then I figure out who to pour into, right? I want to pour into people. Like I think
very true.
There's so many people that poured into me to help me get to where I'm at today. Mm-hmm. I want to give back and do that same thing, but I want to do it, and I hate to say waste my time, but I want to do it with the right people that are hungry. Same thing with the inner city when I talked to them last week. If you've hit rock bottom, I'm all there for you. Let's go get something done.
You want to see fruits of your labor.
But if you're still kind of playing that game and think you want to, change your life and all that stuff, but you really haven't made that mind switch,
you're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. So I could pour into them all day long, but until their mind's made up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, 100% sense.
Anyway,
absolutely.
We kind of go a tangent.
No, but it is true. I mean, and you're 100% right. You do pour into people. I know this from personal experience. You've poured into me the last few years, helping me grow my business.
It's been a lot of work.
I know. It's been a real challenge, man. I'm about to pass out.
Earmark 5 hours a week just for Dean.
Just to help him get up every morning.
That's right.
How I do this radio show, I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
I got Dan Butler here in the studio with CrestCore Realty. We're talking about your network will reflect your net worth. Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about, you are who you hang with and who you surround yourself with. Your sphere of influence to me was extremely important to put it together. But the size of your network too. I mean, I think that's something that's important because you control that as an individual, your size of your network. In some of our notes here, small network yields small net worth. Big network yields big net worth. I mean, it makes it's very simple, but it makes total sense.
And big and small in the sense of it can be the number, or it can be, and it really correlates to I've seen say an attorney that's a one-man shop versus an attorney with a team, and that team can handle a ton of stuff and has a process and has scalability, and we'll get into that later. But that's kind of the big and kind of two connotations there, in my opinion.
That's right. It's statistics. It's a numbers game. We've talked about numbers game on the show a million times when it comes to how many houses you want to buy this year. Is it 5? Well, how many do you need to go look at? Is that 200?
Right.
How many phone calls you got to get to look at those 200? Is it 500 phone calls? So, yes, it's definitely a numbers game to develop this network. Things you should be doing in your network as you grow your financial wealth. What are some of the things? We've got two main ones we're going to talk about today, but two things you should be doing as you grow your financial wealth. What are those two, Dan?
Excuse me. I think to me, finding your talent, who you're going to associate with, make it a number one priority. Who's your team that you're going to be working with, because you're only going to go as far as the team that can go with you. And then number two, just always top grading, forever, increasing leverage, meaning, always kind of calling out your team and kind of
constant
challenge process, constant, moving the needle. Is your team going to be able to handle the next level where you're trying to go? And we'll get into that a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take a real short break. I've got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty in the studio. We're talking about your network will reflect your net worth. We're going to dive into these two topics, make associating with talent your number one priority, and top grade for ever-increasing leverage. We're going to be back here on the Memphis Real Estate Hour in just a minute.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Continued sunny and warm with temperatures nearing 90 this afternoon, but northeast winds will start to drive our humidity down. Lows near 70 and will hold in the mid and upper 80s over the next couple of days, with highs falling into the 70s by the weekend. Visit Todd Lochner at Principal Toyota. Exclusive employee pricing event going on now. You pay what they pay on Camrys, RAV4s, Corollas, the complete Toyota lineup. 385 in Winchester, principaltoyota.com. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers. On The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Picture your dream house. For you, it might be a sprawling property with mature trees and a winding driveway, or perhaps it's something more cozy and closer to the mall. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage today. Tell us about your dream home. We want to make it a reality. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage at 206-930-1801 or visit spmc.com for more information. NMLS ID 1788, Equal Housing Lender.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of purchase price in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan, VA, FHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740. That's Brighton Bank at 901-758-1740.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. We've got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty here in the studio with me this morning. We're discussing how your network will reflect your net worth. We've talked about your sphere of influence, how a small network can yield a small net worth, and how a big network can yield a big net worth. So it seems to make a whole lot of sense. It's just a numbers game. Then our two main topics we're going to dive into: things you should do in your network as you grow your financial wealth. Talent, to me, and per our notes here, is the number one priority. You brought up Alabama in the last.
Should be talking about Clemson. I don't know why I brought up Alabama.
Yeah, I was about to say, Clemson grad bringing up Alabama. Well, let's talk about Clemson then. So Clemson, you don't think Dabo Swinney doesn't have talent, right? I mean, that whole roster's full of talent. I think it's something that you should apply every day. I mean, we don't partner with bad attorneys, or anyone else for that matter.
When I think the big difference I see between Alabama and Clemson, which applies to what we're talking about, is just, I think Dabo focuses on character. He doesn't focus on 100 5-star athletes. He focuses on the 5 that he knows that are just selfless, or joy, just have a good attitude. And they're going to, I mean, they saw that on the sideline week before last, the second, third stringer in there having great plays, and the first string was just going nuts.
Yeah.
Cheering them on. Like, where do you see that?
Yeah.
That guy could be taking your job, and you're cheering him on like crazy. You don't see,
It's a good omen of what, or a testimony of what is going on in the whole program.
That's right.
I mean, if you've got the, if they're kicking someone's rear end, and then you got the first team guys up there cheering on the second and third team guys. I mean, it shows that they certainly have some unity, that they're together trying to accomplish one goal. And I know we're using some sports analogies this morning, but I mean, the truth of the matter is that type of mindset applies in your everyday, or it should apply in your everyday thought process, along with in building your team. So talent is the number one priority. I would surround yourself with talented people who are extremely good in their field. Will Griffin is one of our vendor partners. He's an extremely accomplished attorney. Steve Bighouse is
that guy knows more about.
I've never talked to anybody with as much knowledge and experience, and in depth as Steve has in his field. So we're in. A little plug here. We're happy to have him join the show. Steve Bighouse is sponsoring the show. Yeah, we're going to have him on in a few weeks. So, but all of our other Brighton Bank is a good partner of ours. I mean, we take a lot of pride in who we choose to partner with us for those very reasons. We've had some in-depth conversations about should we add that person or should we not.
Right.
You should apply that as an individual. Should I partner with this person or should I not? It shouldn't be an emotional thing. It's totally a business decision.
Yeah.
Special ability to do something, apply to real estate: intelligence, behavior, motivation. What are some of the other ones, Dan? Attitude, behavior.
Yeah, and just I'd take it a step further and say, do they love what they do, and are they good at it? There's a ton of people out there that look like they're just checking the box. Does that make sense?
Getting through the
just
day.
Getting through the day. But do they really love what they do and provide that service?
How many people do you know do that? How many? Of course, we're not naming names, but how many people? Not necessarily with our company, because I'd like to think that everybody in our company knows what they do. Right. But I mean, if we're being honest, how many people in your daily contact do you think are just going through the motions?
I'd like to think that 100% of who we deal with have that, but I don't think we're there yet. Probably 70%. But that's through attrition, through culling through and finding the right, what we're talking about, right? I mean, we're constantly, upgrading and changing that.
If you're not, you're getting worse.
You're getting worse, right? We've already established that, right?
Yeah, you're getting worse if you're not. How about in your personal life, your friends, or anybody, buddies from college? I mean, I know right now I'm thinking, I'm thinking of mine right now, and I have a couple that I don't think are doing this, but the majority of mine are doing something every day to make themselves and their family better. I have a few that aren't, but some, but most, I would say,
Facebook helps you watch that.
Yeah, man, that tells a big story.
That does tell a big story. What they post,
they post, and what they're doing. But how many people you think in your personal, like friends and college roommates or buddies or whatever, do you think are really striving to get better every day?
I'd say 80% of them, just because I chose, the friends I chose in Clemson were ones that were not just going to be sitting around and going to the bars every night. We were studying every night. We were pushing hard,
That's right.
intramural sports and, student body politics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
seeing it's a testament.
And those guys are
right
like
now.
congressmen.
Right.
You see them on Facebook. They're like running for office and doing some crazy stuff.
Right.
Building big hotel. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff.
And I don't
to
think
see.
it's any coincidence.
No.
It's no, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't just get lucky and happen to plop down in a group of buddies, and now you're successful. They are,
Yeah.
and you can see what what all they're doing. But they go above and beyond. They look for the best interest, and they have fiduciary responsibilities. So let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about a functional relationship and a fiduciary relationship.
Yeah, man. That's, I love breaking this down. What kind of service do you get? Low level of service, high level of service? Do you get, somebody that's narrow focused and just they can only hear, oh, I got a policy for that, or hey, I can close this, or hey, when you get to this level, let me know, we can handle this, or hey, we're going to learn how to do assignments and we're going to learn how to do double closings, and whatever it is you're going to be doing, we're going to go learn and do it, right beside you. Like, that's a fiduciary, relationship versus a functional. Functional is just going to, oh, we only do this,
Their best interest.
Their best interest.
Not necessarily yours.
And best interest might not be the right word. Like, just, it's okay to have, I'm just only going to do this. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So that's where it's an interesting conversation because, some people find a niche, and stick with it, and that's what they do. And because some people ask me all the time, like, how big do you want to get? I'm like, It's not about getting big. It's about building a business, that's sustainable, that can run without us.
Yeah.
That's where we're trying to go. So that doesn't mean that everybody, there's some people that E-Myth and books like that are great books about, some people just want to be in the business and have a responsibility in the business all day, every day. And that's not what we're trying to build. So it's a different, so we're trying to find people like that.
That's right.
And it's different. So that's where the whole network, your net worth, that plays into to it. So
functional relationships, you get sometimes a low level of service, a narrow focus like you just described. Completes just a single task, and that's the end of it. Delivers info instead of, advising you on what to do. I mean, like, that applies in my everyday. I mean, I'm going to give you the investments of the week here at the next break. If that's the end of it, I'm just giving you that. Now, if you call me after the show, we'll talk about each one. You know what I mean? Like, we'll dive into why I think these are good properties, why I think you should invest. But, I mean, you could just deliver the information, and then this person's replaceable.
Yeah, under functional, they're replaceable. With a fiduciary, they're irreplaceable. Just because, to your point, like, that's one of my probably pet peeves, I would say, is you go to a meeting and you're actually giving the person you're meeting with ideas like, hey, what about an LLC to do this? Oh, yeah, I would recommend that. You're at that level, da-da-da. It's like, hold on a second. Why are you not telling me this is what I got to be doing right now? Like, you see the difference?
We had a client in last week, and I think I know what you're talking about, and they were talking about insurance. Mm-hmm. And the client asked his insurance agent, should we get this extra coverage? And the insurance agent responded, yeah, you could do that. Why in the world would the insurance agent not promote that if that's something
that's going to help,
would do?
Right.
Why haven't I already learned that?
Why haven't I heard that from you versus me asking?
He made a perfect example of just what we just talked about.
Yeah.
The insurance agent should have given him way more information, maybe offered up that program. Instead, our client's having to ask him for it. Oh, yeah, that might be good.
And I think that's important for our listeners and viewers to understand. Like, that's a mind shift of you're just checking the box, even for yourself, like trying to find somebody that's going to be pushing you. If you find that accountant that's going to say, all right, when you get to this level, let's going to do this. When you get to this level, all right, where are you trying to go? And understanding your business. Mm-hmm. And then he's plotting out a plan to handle your business when you get to that level.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I've had to shift that in my business in the last maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you become, instead of an agent, you're running a business.
I'm helping, I can't even know the number of investors running their business.
That's right.
I'm helping people build wealth. I'm not just selling you houses. I'm really not selling anything. Yeah. I'm giving you a product, showing you how to use it in your business and how to best utilize it. Mm-hmm. And we pride ourselves, on going with people through this process. So, yes, we close one home. You might be 3 months before you buy another home, but we're still here. We're guiding you along the way, answering questions, getting you with all of our vendor partners. So, yes, it becomes more of a co-partner, so to speak, to help you build your business versus just hand you houses.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, exactly.
So functional relationship versus fiduciary relationship, extremely important. The fiduciary relationship ones are high-level service, big picture. They own the result that they give you, advises and consults, and then they're irreplaceable. So, I mean, somebody that's irreplaceable in your business, I hope, I strive to be that person for my clients. I don't ever ask anybody to sign a buyer's agency agreement with me. Mm-hmm. Never. I don't feel like I have to. I mean, if I'm doing my job right up front and initially, then they're going to come back to me and continue to work with us. So, I mean, that's one area I think is very important, is to find people that are irreplaceable in your business. Finding talent and developing that relationship. Let's talk about that a minute. Yeah. Man. Finding the talent, and then how do you so let's say you found somebody that's extremely talented. How do you develop that relationship? Well,
I think that you got to be purposeful and have a process to do it. You got to, and you pointed this out earlier, just do they add value? Just an insurance agent writing a policy is, to me, that's not value creation. That's their job, right?
Right.
Versus consulting and giving ideas and helping you grow and reduce cost or improve efficiency, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. But you have to have a process. So, what are their behaviors? Do you click with them? Can you brainstorm with them? Do they have good references? Mm-hmm. A track record? Like for us, changing accountants, we did a really big search for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And we finally settled on somebody that's helping some of the big real estate companies that are light years ahead of us, thousands and thousands and thousands of units and, mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff. And so that's who we wanted to partner with from an accounting standpoint, because they're already, those guys are pushing
absolutely
for the latest and greatest tax code or, deductions or whatever it is, or entity structures, whatever that looks like. So mm-hmm. we want to ride at the coattails on that.
So picking the right partner is extremely important. Behavior, reference, track record, culture index. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something that we use, that we've talked about here on the show before, is creating a position, telling what that position should be like and how they should behave, and then having them, take our survey that we have and placing them in the right spot. So culture index is one, and any of those behavioral surveys can be, you can apply.
We were talking about this earlier, but we have not done this, but I think this is where we're going, like finding kind of what kind of attorney do we want, what kind of insurance person, and so the culture index actually help us figure out
you said that to me yesterday in the office. You said, what about giving our clients that survey to find out which clients that we want to work with that are
want to work with and how to work with, right?
Yeah,
what's their tendency? Yeah, what's their tendencies? What do they expect? What's their DNA like, so that we know how to best serve them.
That's a whole new level of finding out, who you want to work with and how you want to work with them. Guys, we're live in the studio with Dan Butler of CrestCore Realty. We're talking about your network will affect your net worth. And we'll take a real short break. We're going to get back and dive into the second part of this. It's great information today, guys. If you've got any questions or anything we want to answer live on the air, feel free to jump on the Facebook page, the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Post your question on there. We'll try to get to it today. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on the new 107.9 FM, The Voice.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010. Continued sunny and warm with temperatures nearing 90 this afternoon, but northeast winds will start to drive our humidity down. Lows near 70 and will hold in the mid and upper 80s over the next couple of days, with highs falling into the 70s by the weekend.
Visit Todd Lochner at Principal Toyota. Exclusive employee pricing event going on now. You pay what they pay on Camrys, RAV4s, Corollas, the complete Toyota lineup. 385 in Winchester, PrincipalToyota.com. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of purchase price in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan: VA, FHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740. That's Brighton Bank at 901-758-1740.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Griffin, Cliff, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Picture your dream house. For you, it might be a sprawling property with mature trees and a winding driveway. Or perhaps it's something more cozy and closer to the mall. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage today. Tell us about your dream home. We want to make it a reality. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage at 206-930-1801 or visit spnc.com for more information. NMLS ID 1788, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. As promised, free money. You love that, Dan, don't you?
Yeah.
Free money.
Still trying to figure out the equation.
Yeah. Well, keep figuring it up there. All right. Two really good properties today. Get your pens, get your pencils, get your paper. Got two really good investment properties for you today. 693 Bondwood Avenue. It's over in Whitehaven. 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Great property. Brick home. Very, very solid house. $46,900, and this will rent for $750 all day long. It's over in Westwood area. This is just a great property. 693 Bondwood, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $46,900, and it will rent for $750 a month. Number two, 4,000 block of Macomb Cove in my favorite zip code, 38118, 4257 Macomb Cove. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This was listed at $29,900. Needs a little bit of work, but this will rent for $800 to $825 all day long. Probably needs $10,000 to $15,000 in work into it. 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $29,900, 4257 Macomb Cove over my favorite zip code of 38118. So, guys, if you have any questions on these two, I've got about 47 listings of investment properties as well. So, If these two are not it, I'm sure I've got something for you, or I can definitely find it. If you're looking for something specific, that's kind of what we pride ourselves on. We don't hold a ton of inventory,
No.
but we can go find anything and everything. We had a guy call us. Actually, we closed our biggest apartment deal, or mine, this week. So we've had that's something we're opening.
Is that the one
up.
I gave you?
No,
I'm just
not this one. You gave me the one after that. So I guess we're even now.
Try to take credit for all your clothes.
Yeah, thank you. I don't care. As long as they
No,
close.
close. That's right.
What do I care if you take
That's
the credit,
right.
man? As long as they close, it doesn't really matter to me.
That's
So
right.
I've got Dan Butler in the studio this morning. We are talking about how your network will reflect your net worth. I think it's an extremely powerful statement, let alone the information that we're giving you today. So we've covered all kinds of areas so far, but let's go back to what we were talking about and finding talent, developing that relationship. What could that process look like of behavior, the reference, their track record? We talked about this on the break for a second, but a low-cost experiment, what would be for someone who's trying to surround themselves with better partners, what could be some examples of some low-cost or low-risk experiments?
I mean, one that comes to mind just recently is, it's kind of off the beaten path of what we normally talk about, but a call center. We're looking at a different call center for maintenance. And, can we just do a low-cost experiment where they get a subset or, certain hours or, something like that. Attorneys, we just had this come up, right? One of our attorneys that has never done assignments really, for just so to speak. Do we walk them through and do they want to learn?
Or is this more than what they want to do?
More than what they want to do. And that either one's fine, right?
Yeah, we don't care.
But do one. Don't say we're going to give all our business and do all assignments tomorrow. But you can do one and see how it goes. And is it a tweakable deal, or is it something that's just too much over somebody's head, or too cumbersome with paperwork, whatever the situation may be? And somebody might say, well, I can't do that.
Right.
So just try to tiptoe. We really try to tiptoe into things before we jump in. And that's something that separates us a lot of times, I think.
Yeah.
You don't crash and burn in that scenario.
No, I also think it's a telling sign for that partner if they just shut it down.
True.
You know what I mean? To me, it's no, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then.
And that happened with us with an attorney that before, around the show started, like, just kind of shut something down we were trying to do. And do we do closings with them anymore?
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, see, and that's okay, because that person they might not want to take their business to that place for whatever reason. It might not be a growth thing. It might be a logistical reason why they don't want to take it. But new leasing company or call center attorneys. So guys, if you're out there listening and you want to have a low cost experiment to try this, try a different closing attorney. That maybe does some more volume than what you're used to.
Leasing was the example of just give them a zip code.
Yeah.
We were trying to do process, give them a zip code or give them a subset of houses, and just so you can watch how, instead of just shutting down one whole system and putting a whole new system in place with a different partner, how are ways, and people just need to think differently sometimes about that. They just want to jump in and shut things off and start on something new, and it's
brand new.
Let's prove it out first, and so that applies to every partner you deal with.
I'd love somebody that's open-minded like that.
Right.
I wouldn't, if someone's that closed-minded about something, I don't think they're the right partner for you to keep growing.
Yeah, if they push you to say it's all or nothing kind
of thing. Yeah. I mean, to me, that's not a partner. That's somebody that has an agenda and they're trying to stick with it. Number two, the second main point that we're talking about, make associating with your talent your number one priority, and then top grade for every increasing leverage. Always raise the bar. I mean, that's one of our notes here, but you use the marathon analogy versus the half marathon. Go into that a little bit. You're the runner.
Yeah. Well, it just hit me one day that that to me with our business we've been trying to run a marathon, slow and steady, just methodical, and we got a lot of people, partners and different things that we've had in place that are really set up to run the half marathon, and that's okay, right? But we stop. They're going to stop at 13 miles. We're going to keep going.
You had to have them too.
We had to have them. Yeah, they helped you get from point A to point B. But now we're trying to go to point C. And some people are going to go with you and grow with you, and some people aren't. And that's what we're trying to get across in this show. Is just and recognizing that, and when your partners are holding you back. I think that's what you got to really figure out.
Because if you're looking at, we have a graph here. It's a pyramid, and thinking of the 10x mindset, constantly trying to do 10 times what you think you should be doing or what you could be doing.
Yeah, just the thought of, it takes just as much time, effort. The 10x mindset would be just as much time, effort with a one-man person or one-woman shop than it is with a full-service shop that you're trying to talk to, as far as just the energy to deal with them and talk to them. And I'd almost say it takes probably more with the one-person shop.
You got to get more out of them.
You got to explain stuff. You got to push them
into them.
You're pushing. You're getting frustrated. So the energy level tends to go to the negative side versus the positive. Versus that person that that has the 10x mindset like you do.
Yep. They're
going to grow with you and say, all right, let's go.
And we can use you can use your closing attorney as another analogy for that. If you're using a one person shop, the attorney and maybe a paralegal or something, you're going to constantly have to push them,
right?
Follow up, what's going on, tell me what Whereas if you're dealing with a bigger outfit that closes 200 to 250 houses a month or transactions a month,
that's right.
They have a system in place, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to close that many. So yeah, it's a constant push of always raising the bar and trying to fit into that best area. I mean, a lot of people are good. Some people are better.
Right.
There's some greats.
Yep.
And then the best.
We want the best.
We want the best. It's a very small,
for every partnership.
Yeah, it's a much smaller window here on our graph of fitting into that best model versus just the wide open good.
And people need to understand too, the best of where you are now may not be the best for where you are next year.
That's an ever-changing.
It's an ever-changing.
Goal
so that's what we
and
need to make sure we get across. Like, they might be the best accountant for you right now, but they might not be the best accountant for you 2 years from now because of where you've gone.
Yep.
Right?
You used that analogy earlier in the show. I mean, you guys had an accountant at one point that was perfect for you, suited your needs, what you had.
Just me and my wife, maybe
perfect.
a couple of houses. But once you started, having LLCs, that actually cost me money because they didn't understand the tax codes they should. And so when I made the first jump to the bigger tax firm, I got $7,000 back because I hadn't been filing a certain exemption that I'm allowed to by having a family-owned LLC.
That's right.
That's just a quick example. But I'm like, man, if I just kept with that same accountant for the next 10 years, that $7,000 would have turned into 20 and 30 and 40. You know what I mean? It would just kept growing.
No telling.
Who knows where it would have gone? So it was worth paying another $1,000 for that return every year to upgrade that talent, if that makes sense.
It does. All right, so we're encouraging you here to analyze your sphere of influence. Look at your partners that you're working with and find out if they're the best. If they're not the best, talk through it with them.
That's right.
Talk through it. Hey, this is what I'm, Mr. Vendor, and we're picking on attorneys today, but insurance agents, whoever it may be that you're partnering with.
Real estate agent.
I mean, you might be at a point to where you just need an agent to send you comps and send you houses, and you decide if that's something that you want.
I mean, there's agents we know that are great at sending us one deal a month, but if we need 10, they don't have the system in place to get you 10.
They're not our person anymore.
Right.
That's right. And
or a wholesaler or whatever.
Anybody. That's right. A closing attorney, your insurance agent.
But I love the character piece of this. Mm-hmm. Just, hey, if your gut says, hey, this isn't going where you're going, sit down with them, explain them to where you're going, ask them where they plan to go, and see if y'all can, are y'all aligned on where you're trying to go?
Because you might not have any idea.
That's right. And they might not have any idea where you're trying to go.
Right. So if you just kick them to the curb and you run on to the next best thing, I don't think you're giving your current partner
No, that's not a win-win. That's not a golden rule. That's just some of your values piece that plays into this conversation. I think that's very important to, then you leave on a handshake. Hey, I'm going to go try this, but let's leave the door open.
For your growth, for your come back. That's exactly
right. That relationship. So,
let's see. Ask them if they're heading in that direction. Yeah, we talked about that. Make a decision, and I think I think partnering up and finding out the right person and being open and upfront with them is huge. I mean, because I certainly would hate to have a good relationship going with somebody. Mm-hmm. Pick up and leave because I don't think they have the capabilities when I didn't even discuss it with them, talk with them, know what's going on.
That's right.
Or have any ideas. Some examples.
There's no difference in employees.
That's right.
Same thing, right? You want them to know where they stand. And so if things needed to go a different way, you're aligned. It's no surprise.
That's right.
Same thing with your partners, who you're dealing with, who you're working with. It shouldn't be a surprise that, oh, I didn't know you're going to double your business in the next 5 years. Like
I'm planning to do that too.
Right.
Yeah. And you had no idea, and you can stay with them. Example was the insurance agent that you guys had. I think, talk about that just for a second. Sure. I think it's a great example of how maybe one outfit isn't as good or not cut out to be your partner as you grow.
So, that's just one that sticks out in my head, pretty clearly early on. We had an insurance agent that was good at one policy at a time, right? And then when you got to 10 houses plus, they couldn't have a commercial policy, and they just all this paperwork was flying at you every day, like policy updates and just your forms, and
they're scrambling.
And just the magnitude of how their process was they were built for a homeowner. And we weren't going to be that. We were a homeowner, but we were investors, so we needed to partner with somebody that could have a master policy, have things, all in one package, and could add just under this umbrella of policies, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Well, you take that a few more years later, then you need umbrella policies, you need, liability insurance, theft. I mean, there's all kinds of just add-ons that just, wow, I didn't know I need that 10 years ago.
You need it now.
But that first insurance agent, maybe could have handled it, but surely couldn't get you a plan to get prepared for it.
That's right.
So that was a good example.
Attorneys are another one. Close one deal at a time. Maybe you're starting off now. You're new. You've closed 4, but it's taken you 2 years to get there.
Yeah.
Your attorney that you close with now is perfect. It works out. Well, then then all of a sudden you're moving into I want to close, 7 a year, 10 a year. Is that attorney cut out for that volume? Are they ready to do assignments? Can they double close?
What if you take your business to wholesaling?
Right.
And all of a sudden you're a wholesaler and you're doing assignments on top and double closings and your traditional real estate closings. Can they handle, number one, the volume, the different transactions, and all that kind of stuff? So that's something to keep in mind.
This has been extremely educational. I mean, it's you and I talk all the time about 10X thinking. How can we get better, internally? How can we sell more homes? How can we help more investors grow their business? Right. So a lot of this show, I think this is one that I'll even come back and listen to myself. But it's how your network will reflect your net worth. We covered a bunch of great points on vendor partners, who to partner with, how to determine whether you're growing, they're growing, if you're growing together. Yeah. So you can apply this in so many different ways, not just real estate, but in your personal life, in a bunch of different areas. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, some of the people that just came to mind as we went through this is we talked about agents, attorneys, insurance agents, property managers, right? There's great property managers that can handle 50 or 60 houses.
Yep.
But once, somebody has 100, which we have several clients that have 100.
That's right.
That's a whole nother ball game.
It's a completely different ball game.
So can you handle it? Do you have the processes? Can you handle that volume? Can you handle the calls? Can you handle the transactions? So is somebody growing to build those systems in place to handle that? And that's going to look different.
That's right.
Contractors.
They're one of them too, big time. Can they handle
Our first contractors brought us bags of receipts, invoices that were hardly done, couldn't make a deadline every Tuesday. Now we got contractors that have do our system, have the insurance,
have it down,
comp, have it down, and they've just called themselves out. So we've grown with our contractors as well. So
guys, great show. We'll be back next Tuesday at 8 a.m. You caught the Memphis Real Estate Hour today. I appreciate you listening. If you joined us on Facebook Live, we appreciate that. We will see you next Tuesday, 8 a.m. Dan, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
You listen to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on FM 107.9.
The Mid-South station with the most local talk and CBS News at the top of every hour. KWAM, Memphis.